All right, let's talk about this big shiny thing they keep selling as politics. You know, the grand production where serious people in serious suits gather to make serious decisions about your life. That's the official brochure. They tell you it's a noble arena full of intelligent debate, moral courage, and the kind of wisdom that can only come from years of shaking hands and kissing babies. But if you squint just a little, and maybe tilt your head to the side, you realize it's not a noble arena at all. It's a carnival, a traveling roadshow with a permanent address, a circus where the elephants wear ties and the clowns have press secretaries. The only difference between the big top and the Capitol is that the circus leaves town when it's done. Politics sticks around and charges you extra for the popcorn. The first thing you notice when you peek under the tent is the performers. Oh, they've got characters, you've got the ringmaster. The big voice booming about freedom and opportunity while making sure the ticket prices never go down. You've got the juggling act, the ones who can toss promises, scandals, and excuses in the air all at once without dropping a single campaign donation. And of course, the clowns. My God, the clowns. The ones who turn every debate into a pie fight, every policy into a punchline. They don't even need makeup. The television lights do it for them. These are the folks who can look dead into a camera and tell you the economy is booming while you're digging in the couch cushions for lunch money. That's not lying, that's showmanship, that's art, and just like any circus, the audience is part of the act. They sell you a ticket called democracy, hand you a program full of slogans, and tell you to cheer at the right moments. They've got the crowd trained better than any lion tamer. Clap when the candidate says har, working families, boo when the opponent mentions taxes, stand up and wave your little flag when somebody yells freedom, even if they're about to take away the freedom to keep your own socks. The best part, you paid for the ticket with your taxes, and they still charge you extra for the cotton candy. Let's not forget the endless parade of campaign promises. Oh, those promises are beautiful. They sparkle like a brand, new car on a dealer's lot. Every election is a clearance sale. This year only, we'll fix the schools, clean the air, pave the roads, and bring back the good jobs. Limited time offer, act now. And people line up like it's Black Friday. They forget that the same promises were on sale 4 years ago and somehow never got delivered. It's like ordering a pizza every election and getting an empty box with a thank you note. And the note always says, "We'll do better next time, keep believing." And folks keep ordering because hope is the only topping they never run out of. The debates are my favorite act. They call it a debate to make it sound intellectual, but it's basically a comedy roast without the courtesy of a punchline. Two people in suits standing at podiums, pretending to answer questions while secretly competing to see who can avoid the truth the longest. They don't debate, they dodge, they sidestep, they pirouette around anything that smells like an actual solution. It's a ballet of nonsense. One says, "My opponent's plan will destroy the middle class." The other replies, "Well, my opponent doesn't even know where the middle class lives." And the crowd goes wild. Meanwhile, the middle class is at home checking the couch cushions again. Then there's the media, the carnival barkers. Step right up, folks. Come see the amazing two-headed candidate. One head says one thing, the other says the opposite, and they both promise change. They hype every poll like it's a horse race, every scandal like it's the apocalypse, and every handshake like it's a royal wedding. They don't care who wins as long as you keep watching, keep arguing, and keep buying the snacks. The show must go on, and ratings are the real election. And don't you love how every politician suddenly becomes your best friend around election time? They remember your name, your town, your favorite pie. They show up at diners eating pancakes like they've been doing it every morning since childhood. They kiss babies like they've got a quota. They pet dogs that would normally be tied up outside their fancy office. They act like they care about the same things you care about, until the votes are counted. After that, they vanish faster than a magician's rabbit. Try getting a call back once the circus packs up. The only time you'll hear from them again is when they need more campaign donations, which they describe as grassroots support. That's political code for send money so we can buy more balloons. You ever notice the slogans? Oh, the slogans are priceless. A new tomorrow, putting people first, change we can believe in. They all sound like shampoo commercials. They could sell you a bottle of dish soap with those lines. Nobody ever runs on a slogan like, "We're gonna keep things mostly the same," or "You'll still be broke, but we'll smile about it." Too honest. The trick is to keep it vague. Give people just enough words to project their own dreams onto. It's like a political Rorschach test. You see progress. I see a new parking lot. Everybody wins until reality shows up. And let's not forget the money. Oh, the money. If politics is a circus, campaign finance is the concession stand, and the prices are outrageous. You think stadium hot dogs are expensive? Try buying an election. These folks raise millions, sometimes billions, just to tell you how humble and down to earth they are. They spend more on a single commercial than you'll make in a lifetime, all to convince you they understand the struggles of the common person. Nothing says man of the people like a 30-second ad that costs more than your house. Here's the real kicker. Every few years, they act like the next election is the most important one of your lifetime. This is it, folks, the big one. If you don't vote this time, civilization as we know it will crumble into dust. They say it every time, and people believe it every time. And then, after all the hype, after all the debates, after all the lawn signs and bumper stickers, nothing really changes. The names change, the faces change, but the circus keeps running the same schedule. It's like watching a soap opera where the characters swap haircuts but keep the same tired storylines. And here's the punchline: we keep showing up. We keep buying the tickets. We keep arguing with each other about which clown is funnier, which juggler drops fewer promises, which ringmaster has the loudest whistle. We keep hoping that maybe, just maybe, this time the show will end with a happy finale. But it never does, because it's not designed to end. It's designed to keep going, to keep distracting, to keep you entertained while the real work happens somewhere you're not invited. The truth is, the comedy isn't hidden at all. It's right there on stage every day, in every speech, every handshake, every carefully rehearsed moment of fake outrage. The comedy is in the idea that these folks are public servants when half of them wouldn't know public service if it knocked on their door and asked for a glass of water. The comedy is in the way we argue about which side is better, while both sides quietly agree on keeping the tent open and the popcorn warm. The comedy is in the fact that they need us more than we need them, but they've convinced us it's the other way around. So here we are, in the front row, watching the greatest show on earth, laughing and crying at the same time, because deep down we know the truth. The circus isn't going anywhere. The clowns will keep juggling, the ringmaster will keep shouting, and we'll keep buying tickets, because that's what the show is built for. The only way to win is to enjoy the performance, spot the punchlines, and never forget that the laugh is on us. ChatGPT said, "Ah, the language of politics. Now there's a show worth the price of admission." You'd think words were invented so people could communicate, share ideas, maybe even tell the truth once in a while. But not in politics. No, in politics words are like those fancy stage props in a cheap magic act. They sparkle, they twirl, they make you look one way while something completely different is happening behind the curtain. Politicians don't use words to explain things, they use them to hide things. It's verbal camouflage. They don't want you to see the truth. They want you to admire the vocabulary. They've got a phrase for everything, and none of it means what it sounds like. A politician never says we're broke. That's too honest. They say we're experiencing a temporary budget shortfall. That sounds so polite, like the government just misplaced a couple of nickels under the couch. And when they're about to raise your taxes, do they ever admit it? Of course not. They call it revenue enhancement. Doesn't that sound nice, like they're adding sprinkles to your paycheck? They could be emptying your pockets while smiling and telling you it's for economic growth. Growth for who, you know, but it sure grows something in their campaign fund. And don't get me started on those 3-word slogans they toss around like confetti. Support our troops, family values, economic renewal. They're like fortune cookies without the cookie. Nobody ever defines what they mean, and nobody asks, because it feels good to agree with words that sound positive. Who's against family values? Even mob bosses love their mothers. It's brilliant because you can't argue with something that has no meaning. It's like debating the taste of invisible soup. Then there's the euphemism Olympics. These people could win gold medals in word gymnastics. They don't fire workers. They engage in downsizing or right-sizing. Right-sizing. Like losing your job is somehow the right size for your life. They don't lie. They misspeak. They don't spy on you. They gather intelligence. And when they get caught with their hands in the cookie jar, they don't steal. They redirect resources. You gotta admire the creativity. They can turn a disaster into a learning opportunity and a scandal into a teachable moment. They could set your house on fire and call it thermal redistribution. And let's not forget the way they pile words on top of each other until you forget what the question was in the first place. Ask a politician, are you going to raise taxes? And you get, well, let me first say that our administration is committed to fostering an environment of economic opportunity while ensuring that all stakeholders have an equitable seat at the table of prosperity. By the time they finish, you don't know if you're getting a tax hike or a free sandwich, but you clap anyway because it sounded important. That's not an answer. That's a linguistic smoke bomb. They even have special words for failure. Nothing ever simply fails. A plan that collapses under its own stupidity is never a failure. It's an initiative in transition. A broken promise isn't a broken promise. It's an evolving policy position. A war that goes on forever isn't a mess. It's a long-term strategic engagement. They could lose a football game by 50 points and call it a temporary scoreboard discrepancy. And when they really want to throw you off, they invent new words altogether. Suddenly you hear things like quantitative easing or geostrategic recalibration. Sounds impressive, doesn't it? You nod your head like you understand, because nobody wants to admit they have no idea what was just said. That's the point. They speak in a language so thick and chewy you need a dictionary, a thesaurus, and a bottle of aspirin just to decode a single sentence. They know if you can't figure out what's happening, you can't complain about it. They even have a way of making bad news sound like good news. When the economy tanks, they call it negative growth. Negative growth, that's not even a real thing. That's like saying you've achieved reverse success. And when people can't find jobs, they're not unemployed, they're between opportunities. It's like the job fairy is just taking a nap and will drop off a career any day now. And the press conferences, oh, those are a masterpiece. They gather a room full of reporters, make a statement that says absolutely nothing, and then congratulate themselves for their transparency. We are committed to an ongoing dialogue regarding potential pathways for future developments as we continue to assess the evolving landscape of stakeholder concerns. That's not transparency, that's verbal fog. It's like listening to someone describe a dream they had about a filing cabinet. The best part is how they can use the same words to mean completely different things depending on who's listening. Take the word reform. If you're rich, reform means lower taxes. If you're poor, reform means more help. If you're a politician, reform means whatever keeps me in office. They'll promise reform to everyone and deliver it to no one, and somehow everybody thinks they won. And have you noticed how every big program or law has a name designed to make you feel warm and fuzzy? The Freedom Act, the Patriot Plan, the Jobs for All Initiative. They could be passing a law that requires everyone to wear rubber boots on Wednesdays, and they'd call it the Happy Feet Freedom Act. You can't vote against something with a name like that without looking like you hate happiness. They also love to soften the sharp edges of reality. A country doesn't bomb another place. It engages in surgical strikes. Sounds like a delicate little operation, doesn't it? Like a team of doctors carefully removing a wart. They don't kill civilians. There's collateral damage. Collateral damage sounds like something that happens to your car when you park too close to a shopping cart. They don't torture people. They use enhanced interrogation techniques. That one's a classic. Enhanced, like they upgraded the service plan. It's not pain, it's just a deluxe questioning package. Even natural disasters get the treatment. Floods are water events. Droughts are precipitation deficits. A hurricane that wipes out half a coastline is an unanticipated meteorological fluctuation. They can talk about the end of the world like they're describing a mild weather forecast, and every time something really bad happens, listen for the magic phrase, mistakes were made. Not I made a mistake, no, that would require a subject, mistakes were made, floats in the air like nobody was involved. It's as if the mistakes just wandered in off the street, sat down, and started ruining everything on their own. But the real comedy is how we all play along. We know they're twisting words like balloon animals, but we nod and smile because it's easier than admitting we're being bamboozled. We laugh at the ridiculous phrases, but we still vote for the people who use them. It's like paying to see a bad magician, even after you've figured out all the tricks. And they've trained us to repeat the language too. Listen to people at a dinner party, and you'll hear them tossing around the same empty phrases they picked up from the evening news. We need to stimulate economic growth. It's about national security. We have to protect our values. Everyone's talking. Nobody's saying a damn thing. And the dictionary sits there wondering why it even bothers to exist. It's a beautiful system, really. Words become shields, swords, and smoke all at once. They distract you from the numbers, the actions, the reality right in front of your face. They let politicians sell you a bag of nothing and make you thank them for the privilege. It's the greatest comedy act ever written, and they perform it every day on every stage, in every press room and every campaign rally. The next time you hear one of these characters speak, try this little game. Strip away the fancy terms, the soft phrases, the noble slogans. Translate budgetary realignment into we ran out of money. Turn enhanced oversight into we're spying on you. Reduce economic restructuring to your job is gone. Once you do that, you'll see the whole thing for what it is. A giant word salad designed to keep you busy while they finish dessert. And the biggest laugh of all, they call this public service, as if serving the public requires a secret dictionary and a thesaurus the size of a small planet. If service means talking for hours without ever answering a question, then sure, they're serving us a full-course meal of nonsense. So listen carefully, because the punchlines aren't hidden. They're right there in every carefully chosen phrase, every polished sentence, every slogan that makes you feel good while it empties your pockets. It's not just political language, it's political comedy, and the joke, as always, is on anyone who still takes the words at face value. You ever notice how the big joke in politics isn't even on the stage, it's in the seats? That's where we come in, the voters, the proud citizens, the ones who are supposed to be running the whole show. According to the brochure, we're the bosses. We hire the leaders, we tell them what to do, and if they don't listen, we fire them. Sounds great, doesn't it? Very empowering. Like you're the CEO of a giant company called Democracy Incorporated. But take a closer look, and you'll see the punchline. The people with all the power are the ones who think they're in charge, while the folks behind the curtain keep cashing the checks and calling the shots. It's the oldest magic trick in the world. They let you believe you're steering the ship while they quietly nail the wheel in place and hand you a fake map. Every election they roll out the same glittery parade. This is your time. Your voice matters, your vote counts, and you feel important for a few minutes. It's like being crowned prom king or queen, except the punch bowl is spiked with confusion and the DJ keeps playing the same song. They tell you to make your choice, but the choices are like two different flavors of the same bland cereal. Do you want original bland or extra mild? Either way, it's the same box, same factory, same ingredients, but they keep pretending it's a thrilling decision. They hand you a ballot like it's a golden ticket, and you line up thinking you're about to change the world. Then you open the curtain, see the names, and realize it's like picking which waiter is going to bring you the same cold soup. And people get so worked up about it. They argue, they fight, they put signs in their yards and bumper stickers on their cars like they're declaring allegiance in a medieval kingdom. They yell at their neighbors about which team is better, as if it really matters. It's like watching fans of two rival football teams screaming at each other, even though the stadium owner pockets the money no matter who wins. Meanwhile, the folks running the place sit back and laugh, because the more you fight about teams, the less you notice that the beer costs $12 a cup. You ever notice how every election is suddenly the most important election of our lifetime? They say it every 4 years. If you don't vote this time, the sky will fall, the oceans will rise, and civilization will crumble into a giant pot of lukewarm oatmeal. And every time people panic, rush to the polls, and wait for the apocalypse that never comes. Then, once the votes are counted, things stay pretty much the same. The potholes don't fill themselves, the bills don't shrink, and the folks at the top keep getting fatter wallets. But don't worry, they'll be back in a couple of years to tell you the next election is the real big one. You missed the last chance to save the world, but this time, oh, this time, it's serious. They've even turned voting into a kind of spiritual ritual. It's not just casting a ballot, it's a sacred duty. People treat it like a holy pilgrimage. They wake up at dawn, stand in long lines, wear their "I voted" stickers like they just came back from the moon, and hey, it's a nice idea, civic participation and all that. But if you think a single vote is going to dismantle the machinery that's been grinding for decades, I've got a bridge to sell you along with a campaign button. The sticker is the real prize. It's like a participation trophy for democracy. You don't get a say in the big decisions, but you get a little round sticker to remind you that you tried. And don't you love the way they market choice? They talk about choice like it's a buffet. This year, you get to choose between two visionary leaders with bold, distinct plans. Then you read the fine print and discover the bold plans differ about as much as two brands of bottled water. One's got a blue label, one's got a red label, but they're both selling you the same slightly overpriced tap water. The real decisions, the ones about money, power, and who gets the best seat at the table, those are already made before you even walk into the polling place. Your job is to pick the mascot that makes you feel the least depressed. Even the so-called outsiders, The ones who show up claiming they're going to shake things up somehow end up playing the same game. They start off shouting about change, promising to drain swamps and break machines, but give them a couple of years and suddenly they're smiling in the same photo ops, using the same buzzwords, raising money from the same deep pockets. The system doesn't change them. They change to fit the system. It's like hiring a new manager at a haunted hotel. The ghosts aren't going anywhere. They just teach the new guy how to rattle the chains a little more politely. And while we're busy cheering for our team or booing the other side, we forget that the real winners are the people who never run for anything. The donors, the lobbyists, the boardroom geniuses who write the checks and whisper the instructions. Those folks don't care who's wearing the crown as long as the castle keeps making money. They stay off camera, sipping champagne and watching the peasants argue about which knight has shinier armor, but we're trained to believe we're in control. They teach it in school. You can be anything you want. Your vote shapes the future. They hand out little flags on election day and tell you that you're the backbone of the nation. Meanwhile, they're already planning the next round of policies you'll never see coming. You think you're steering the car, but the steering wheel isn't even connected to the tires. You're just spinning it back and forth while the engine drives itself wherever it wants. Even the way they count the votes is a comedy sketch. They drag it out for hours, days, sometimes weeks, with dramatic music and breaking news graphics, too close to call, neck and neck, as if they're reporting on a horse race instead of a math problem. They know the suspense keeps you glued to the screen, arguing with strangers, checking your phone every 5 minutes. Meanwhile, the same people who own the television networks are quietly celebrating all the ad revenue you just helped generate. And when it's all over, what happens? The losing side cries foul, the winning side throws a party, and the rest of us wake up to the same old problems. Roads still full of potholes, rents still going up, health care still a nightmare. But don't worry, they'll be back in a few years to tell you it's all your fault because you didn't vote hard enough. Like maybe if you pressed the button with a little more enthusiasm, the laws of economics would have magically changed. You can even see the joke in the way they talk to voters. During campaigns, every citizen is a hero. They shake your hand, listen to your stories, and pretend to care about the price of eggs. They visit diners, eat greasy food, and act like they've been best friends with farmers since birth. But once the election is over, good luck getting a reply to your letter. Suddenly the people's voices are just background noise in a very long voicemail box. It's like dating someone who's super attentive until they move in, and then you never hear another compliment. The real kicker is how we keep falling for it. We act like our tiny individual vote is a magic key to unlock justice, fairness, and prosperity, even though history keeps showing us otherwise. We line up like it's a theme park ride, arguing over who's taller, who's stronger, who's smarter, while the folks who built the park quietly count the cash. And just when you start to suspect the ride is rigged, they release a new commercial with fresh music and a shiny new candidate, and you think maybe this time will be different. But it never really is. The same games are played, the same promises are broken, and the same people end up on top. The rest of us get to wear our stickers and pretend we had a say in it all. It's not democracy, it's audience participation. And the more you laugh at the absurdity, the more obvious the punchline becomes. So go ahead, cast your vote, cheer for your team, wave your little flag, and feel like a king for a day. Just remember, the real power isn't on the ballot. It's backstage, where the show never stops and the tickets keep selling themselves.